Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the John Jay Boys Basketball Podcast. My name is Robert Sipe. I'm the varsity coach at John Jay and here to talk about the week that was. Today is February 1st, Sunday, February 1st, and we only had one game last week, and that was on Friday, January 30th. At Mamaroneck. Mamaroneck is ranked number 1 in the section, number 20th in New York State. And they smoked us, folks. They beat us by 42 points. They beat us 71-29. A tough game for us in warm-ups. One of our best players, Boston Smith, went down with an injury. He had to be taken to the doctors. He's okay, but that was certainly a kick in the gut before we even threw the ball up in the air for tip-off. So that was a rough start for us at the beginning. And then once the ball was thrown up in the air, we really struggled on the offensive end. So I just finished putting some clips together for the guys. We'll take a look at it tonight and tomorrow before we travel to Arlington on just what we could have done better on the offensive end against Mamaroneck. And spoiler alert, in our first 6 offensive possessions, we turned the ball over 4 times. So not something to laugh about. Not too sure why I'm laughing, but our first 6 possessions of the game, we turned the ball over 4 times. So it's and we were only down 6-0. So after 6 offensive possessions, we were only down 6-0. But on 4 of those possessions, we didn't even get a chance to shoot the ball up in the air. And I got some stats here for you. We turned the ball over 4 times in the first 6 possessions, 27 times overall for the game. We had 27 turnovers. Mamaroneck only had 7. We had 7 deflections. Mamaroneck had 31 deflections. How about their hands being up on defense? That's pretty impressive. On the boards, we actually did okay. We out-rebounded them 29-25 on the boards. In every other category, they really beat us up. They shot 52% from the floor. We only shot 31%. I'll put some of these stats up on the screen for you like I did last week so you could take a look at them if you want to pause the video and just take a look at the stats that we get from Huddle. So thankful for Huddle and for the stats that they provide us. And thanks to the Wappinger Central School District for allowing us to have a Huddle account. Incredibly helpful for us to analyze what happened, what went wrong, what we can do better. Certainly the final score is part of that, right? 71-29 was the score of the game. We were down 20-4 after the first quarter. We were down 41-13 at halftime. So we struggled to put points on the board, and I took a look at our first 6 possessions of the game at Mamaroneck, and like I said, I clipped them for the guys, and we will watch that tomorrow before we get on the bus to go to Arlington, and then we'll also watch some clips of Arlington just to make sure that we look forward. I mean, it's one thing to look back and to see what we could have done better against Mamaroneck, but we also want to look forward, and we have a really good opportunity to play against an excellent team in Arlington. Let's see here. Arlington is ranked 4th currently in Section 1, and they have some votes for all state. They're not ranked in the top 25 in the state, but they do have some votes. They are 13-3 is Arlington's overall record. They just beat Newburgh today, and they've got a good team. So we'll take a look at some clips of the Mamaroneck game. Again, I'll put those clips up for you on the screen so that you could take a look if you wanted to just see what we're talking to the guys about and what we're analyzing. Before we get on that bus to Arlington. Again, we'll break down the first 6 possessions that we had against Mamaroneck, and then we'll take a look at some defensive possessions in our first game against Arlington. In that first game against Arlington, I think Arlington won by 5. Might have been technically by 2 because I think Boston hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer, sort of from midcourt. But Arlington beat us by about 5 at our place earlier in the year before Christmas, in December. And they've got an excellent team, really aggressive offensively, excellent athletes. They really crash the boards well. So our goal is going to be to try to keep them off the boards. And our goal is also going to be to try to be better on the offensive end. Again, against Mamaroneck, we really struggled, especially in the turnover department. I think I spoke last week on this podcast about really trying to limit our turnovers. And again, Mamaroneck, forced 27 turnovers. And I hate to say this, I don't exactly think they were an overly aggressive defensive team, just some really silly giveaways on our end. Not to diminish Mamaroneck. Obviously, they're the top-ranked team in the section, 20th ranked team in the state. They are excellent. There's no question about that. But a lot of our turnovers were really not caused by their incredible, intense pressure. It was just us being careless with the ball. So, we don't have an opportunity to practice, before Monday's game at Arlington. But I'm not too sure what we can do in practice to just take care of the basketball and just try not to turn it over. So instead of those 27 turnovers, if we can get 27 looks at the basket, I mean, that's at least 20 points for us. No, now I know it doesn't make up that 42-point loss, but it keeps us in the game. It keeps us hanging around. And factor in that, we didn't have one of our best players in Boston. Factor in that it's a Friday night down in Mamaroneck, and they just have a huge student section cheering them on. I would have been a little bit happier with the 20-point loss versus a 40-point loss. So we really have to do a better job against Arlington of taking care of that basketball and not turning the ball over. So that is the week that was Mamaroneck, all right, a 71-29 loss. But they are the top-ranked team in the section. Right now, I think we are ranked 8th. So if the season ended today, guess what? We'd have a rematch. We would go back to Mamaroneck, and we'd have an opportunity to knock them out of the sectional tournament. And not that I would bet my house on us beating Mamaroneck, but I can tell you it's definitely going to be closer than 40 points. I think we're a much better team than we played on Friday night. But the season is not over. We've got Arlington ahead of us on Monday. Arlington is regarded as the top team in Dutchess County, right? They won the holiday tournament at Lourdes this year, blowing out Lourdes. On Lourdes' home court. So Arlington will be tough tomorrow. At Arlington, they've always got a huge student section that really makes it difficult for us to hear and for us to communicate with each other. So we'll need to all be on the same page tomorrow at Arlington. Again, we'll need to take care of that basketball, and we'll need to play some really good defense. As a part of our film work before we get on the bus, we'll talk about and we'll show some clips of us doing some things well defensively against Arlington, and then us not doing some things so well with their picking us apart a little bit. And then after the Arlington game, we are home on Wednesday for our senior impact night. Our senior impact night is a pretty cool night that this is our first year doing it. Our booster club was instrumental in getting this off the ground and going. So each of our 5 seniors is going to pick a person that really impacted their life, primarily in basketball, but it didn't have to be all about basketball. So the 5 guys on our team have selected 5 individuals. They could be teachers, they could be AAU coaches, and we will honor those 5 people before the game, and that is Wednesday at home against Ossining at 6:30. Ossing's got a good squad. Ossining just beat Ketchum by 18 points, 71-53. I'm looking at the score now, so that's going to be tough. I'll have to talk to Coach Pano a little bit about his advice for Ossining. He played them on Friday night, and we'll play them on Wednesday. And Coach Pano is always so good about really giving me a good scouting report and helping me to prepare our team as best as we possibly can. So we'll hope for the best at Arlington on Monday. 5 o'clock tip-off at Arlington, just a varsity game, no JV game. And then on Wednesday, we're home against Ossining at 6:30. That is our senior impact night, where again, our 5 seniors have selected 5 individuals that have really impacted their lives, and we'll honor them before the game. And then Friday night is our game against Ketchum. So we have a wonderful relationship with Ketchum in that each year we have our 2 league games that we play against them. And we have a girls varsity, boys varsity doubleheader. So the girls will tip off at 5:15 at Ketchum. The Ketchum girls team is fantastic. I think they're ranked 2nd in the section. We've got a pretty good team too. We're ranked 5th in the section, so that'll be a good game at Ketchum at 5:15. That the girls will play first, and then after the girls will play against Ketchum. And I think we beat Ketchum by maybe 5 or 7 earlier in the year in the annual Jules Urillo Michael Ambron Memorial game. But it's always fun to play Ketchum, always a great atmosphere. Their fans are awesome. They've got an awesome student section, and they just bring a lot of energy to that gym. It is always so loud, and just a lot of fun to be a part of that very healthy rivalry. We a lot of our players know a lot of their players. Coach Pano and I are very good friends. I absolutely love the guy. Great coach, great person. I really enjoy, every time that we get to go up against Ketchum. And they're always competitive games, in those Jules Urillo, Michael Ambron games. They've won 2 and we've won 2. I think every game has been single digits. We were single digits this year. Maybe we beat them by 5, 6 points. I can't quite remember. So I would expect nothing different on Friday night. A very close, a very competitive game. I feel like regardless of the sport, you've got a Jay Ketchum game, and it's going to be a really competitive game. And of course, some extra juices for myself because my brother's the principal at Ketchum. So it's always nice to see him. It's always nice for him to get a chance to see, his nephew and his godson, Austin Sipe, play. And it's always nice for Austin to see his uncle, so that'll be a lot of fun for us on Friday night. So that's the week ahead. So the week that is past is behind us. We lost to Mamaroneck 71-29. Tough loss for us, but we're hoping to rebound on Monday at Arlington, 5 o'clock at Arlington High School. Wednesday, we are home at 6:30 against Ossining for our senior impact night, where our 5 seniors have selected 5 individuals that have really impacted their lives, and we'll honor them before the game. And then Friday night, we are at Ketchum. So this is game 16, 17, and 18 for us. We'll have 2 more after this week. We will host Mount Vernon, and we will host Ketchum, the following week. But again, this week ahead at Arlington on Monday at 5, home against Ossining Wednesday at 6:30, and then Friday night at Ketchum, a girls varsity, boys varsity doubleheader. The girls tip off at 5:15 and the boys at 7 o'clock. Folks, thanks so much for watching and listening. I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to talking to you next week about these 3 games. Monday at Arlington, Wednesday home against Ossining, and Friday at Ketchum. Everybody have a great week, and we'll catch up next week. I'll let you know how we did. Fingers crossed we can go 3-0. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.